software. Very software, we just did our primaries on.
Yes.
So paper ballots are the only way that the everyday non-tech person can understand that their votes have been counted. I don't want to hear anything about QRS codes, algorithms, and software because I do welding. I don't know anything about computers. Again, election integrity is a subject that the Georgia GOP just refuses to discuss, but then simultaneously can't understand why their voters aren't motivated to come out and deal with the election. I agree with you, we need to get out there and stop Stacey Abrams. She's an absolute monster. But what is the GOP doing to convince the everyday conservative that they actually care about their vote?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Did any of y'all watch the election in Virginia last fall?
Yes. Good election.
So, what Georgia Victory is, and that's who I work for. I work for Georgia Victory. Georgia Victory is a partnership between the Republican National Committee and the Georgia Republican Party. We are part of it, but we operate independently of it. What we have done for the very first time in history, and I'm going to work with Dina to get Thomas up here to speak with y'all, but we are investing heavily in election integrity. Just like I am the regional field director for Northeast Georgia, and it's my job to get people out to doors and on phones talking to voters, we have a regional election integrity director who is over at pretty much my same area. His name is Thomas. He lives over in Longwood. And it is his job to make sure that we are getting poll watchers out to the polls, to make sure that we have eyes in every voting precinct in Georgia. Because the more eyes we have on this, and the more we have people that know what to look for that are problems, the easier it is to identify it and potentially litigate it, if need be. So, we are investing in election integrity. And, you know, the whole saying is that there's more than one way to skin a cat. Don't tell PETA, they'll probably raid my Twitter. But there's more than one way to skin a cat, and we are actively, we know that there are people that have concerns. But between myself getting out and volunteers getting out and talking to voters one-on-one, and Thomas and the Election Integrity Division training poll watchers and helping to restore confidence in our elections that way, we are attacking this from multiple fronts just to make sure that Republican voters feel like their votes matter.
Thank you. I guess I have a question that kind of relates to what Mr. Aaron was saying. Why are we not exerting pressure on the Board of Elections to hand count all ballots from here on out? The concerned citizens of Pickens County did just that. And, you know, I see us selling and wearing t-shirts that claim the 2020 election was compromised. So what are we gonna do about it? Just sell more t-shirts? And I did write it down because I'm afraid I was gonna be nervous. So I say that the answer is no, that we the people need to take action. So courage is contagious. So let us, as the conservative voices of Union County, be courageous and demand as whatever word makes you feel better, and take a stand and get our ballots hand counted moving forward by addressing, as the GOP and other concerned members of our community, that we address the Union County Board of Elections and ask them to do the same thing that Pickens County just did.
Okay, so, hold on. George, you and Linda are both on the Board of Elections, they represent the Republican Party. Do either of you want to comment on that?
When you hold the election in November, do you want the results from the state to be in February?
Well, I mean, you really think it will take that long?
Probably so statewide.
That's right, who cares?
Now, if you want a hand count of all the, you know, just look at the general primary ballot for a Republican.
I want real.
Yes.
I think accuracy is the most important.
Yeah.
You gotta have.
And that would address the
Yeah.
concerns
Yeah.
from the people if they're concerned about the integrity election. then that's what we should do, yes.
Okay,
A lot
no.
more people need to go and get the training on poll watching and be poll watchers.
The-
Yes, and I
when we went
personally have
from-
disseminated my information to numerous people, and I have yet to be contacted via poll member.
We
When
don't have
we
any
went
poll watchers on
from
election day.
paper
Hold
ballots
on.
to machine, the little levers with the doors, the accuracy improved when we went from hand counting. Hand counting is not that accurate, because if a person is doing something repetitively over and over, their accuracy decreases. We will not have 100% accuracy.
I helped run elections in Iraq, they hand counted with fingerprints, it's not a problem.
Okay, George has the floor.
Let me just say something, please, raise your hand and be recognized. Do not just start speaking, okay? And we'll get to you. We can't afford to have a crowd of this number of people, everybody speaking at one time. So raise your hand and be recognized by the chair. Dana?
George has the floor right now.
There are some in this room that we will never convince that the vending machines are working. I understand that. You have your right to that. I can tell you that in Union County, and that's the only county that I can speak for, the Elec, which means we look at the logistics accuracy, we do all the testing, we do all, everything that is required by the state and things beyond what the state requires in order to make sure that all ballots are accounted for and all the numbers match up before we certify an election. I cannot speak for other counties now. To go back, the only hand count that has occurred in recent times was the 2020 election in the president's race, where they were hand counted, and Linda, if I'm right, we came up with no discrepancies between the hand count on the ballots and the numbers that we had from, the poll pads, the ballot marking devices and the scanners. All those, everything matched up, but we would not have certified the election. You go back to, that's the only hand count that has occurred. If you want to hand count every election, for Union County, we could probably do it a long time before that, but for large counties, talking hundreds of thousands of votes, it's gonna be way late getting any results. And I'm with George in the fact that would be a question. If you have an additional question, I'll try to answer it, but that's where we stand on that.
Yes, sir, or ma'am. I have two comments and then a question. The first comment is I was an election observer in Haiti in 1994, and they had paper ballots. They had millions of people in Haiti vote on paper ballots, and the election, because I was part of the observer board there, they had a actual valid election. When I was in Iraq and was also an observer for the election, they did the same thing. So my two questions are, or my third comment is, the federal government said that there are vulnerabilities in Dominion software. The federal government said that. Okay? Why do we care what Atlanta does if we have the ability to hand count ballots here in Union County? Why do we care what Fulton County says? That's my question. I mean, if we have the ability to do it, why don't we do it? To ensure that there's integrity in the election.
Okay, two questions, one question, you observed two elections.
Yes, sir.
How many questions were on the ballot?
Say again?
How many questions or candidates were on the ballot?
You had 6 or 8, there was 8 in Haiti, and then there was a whole bunch in Iraq. It's a comparable ballot in Iraq. It was a comparable ballot to even the ballot we had this last primary with the questions on for the.
Okay, and my second question would be, if the Union County Board of Elections decided to hand count the ballots from the June 21 election, which which is only a Democrat runoff. But we only have 5 people in that. Would that restore confidence in the machines?
We restore confidence in the ability to hand count ballots and have humans.
Okay, if the results of that hand count was the same as the results of the machine count, would that restore confidence in the process?
Absolutely not, because the federal government has said the Dominion software and machines are vulnerable to attack. The federal government has said that.
All of those machines don't work in other counties too, to include Arizona.
Okay, so what I am hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is that even if Union County, the question seems to be that you have no confidence in the process that we now have using the Dominion machines. If we, as a board, decided that we would hand count this election, and even if the results came out the same, you would still have no confidence in the machines.
Right.
Because the capability to hack those machines is
The fact that they're
there.
not cheating now doesn't mean that you won't cheat, not you personally, it doesn't mean that they can't cheat. The hand count is what's gonna confirm, not the Dominion stuff. The hand count is
Okay,
what will.
but if we as a board decided to hand count after the election, and they came up with the same results as the election, would that restore confidence in the machine?
Sir, what I'm trying to get across to you is that particular election would be validated, don't you think? That particular election would be validated because it was hand counted. The next time, because the machines are still vulnerable, right? The next election may not be. You would always have to.
So we have come to the point then that this is now a legislative debate, not a voting debate, because we cannot change the election law. If you want a hand ballot, you will have to go to the legislature and have an election law change.
Okay, but until then, sir, is there not the possibility then that in our county to sit there and be able to validate the machine vote with a hand count in our county?
Every time,
Yes.
Yes.
and after 2 or 3 times and they come out the same, why are we doing it?
Sir, the point is that the machines, by the federal government, CISA has come out and said that the machines are vulnerable to hacking. They might not be hacked this time. Your bank account may not be hacked today, but it can be hacked tomorrow. It's the
Okay,
same principle.
I think that George is right. I think we're just down to where we just want paper ballots. Is that what I'm hearing, period?
No, we want a hand count.
Wait a minute.
A manual count of the ballots counts.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, but Cindy, do you have a question?
I have a comment. So everything that was just said, we're all in agreement that Dominion is compromised. So I don't understand why we don't push to get rid of Dominion. We have got to get rid of Dominion, period. We've got to go back to paper ballot, whatever we need to do. I understand we're 2022, paper ballot. I mean, people think, oh, that's crazy. No, it's not. It's not crazy. If you watch 2,000 Mules, it ain't crazy. So I don't understand what the big rub is. Why don't we, as conservatives and as the Republican Party, push to get rid of Dominion?
Yeah.
I'm the address of Senator Steve Gooch and the address of Representative Stan Gunner, and start your campaign.
Well, isn't that the GOP's job to help us with that?
Right.
Or are we on our own?
Okay, hold on. Okay, George, you can sit down. Stephen has a comment, and I think Rebecca does.
Look, one of the things that I've dealt with since I came on this position since September has been answering a lot of questions about election integrity. So what I'm going to suggest to everyone going forward is that maybe one evening in the next couple weeks, we can set up a meeting with Thomas Watley, the Regional Election Integrity Director. We can do it over at y'all's headquarters. He can do a combination poll watcher training, and he can answer some of your questions about what we are doing to make sure the election this year is going to be secure. I think that's a pretty good compromise, and I think that would actually move the ball forward a little bit.
Okay, I can do that. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I hear you. There's real concern about Dominion. I recognize that. The way it works is though, for, like you said, for the state legislature to change that, it's probably unrealistic that they're going to do a special session and change it between now and November. The regular session, begins next January, and for future elections, push your legislature, if you want to push them to get rid of Dominion and do hand ballots, push the legislature to do that. But in the meantime, we do have an election in November, and I would say this, yes, there are concerns, but we can win. We won that special election on a congressional district that had always gone Democrat on the border of Mexico. We elected a Republican born in Mexico, new congressman, beat the Democrats in a district that had always gone Democrat, in a district that Democrats focused on. And my understanding is they used Dominion. So at least in that case, we won anyway. In the Virginia governor's race, we won anyway.
Right.
So what I'm telling you is, if paper ballots is your issue, push that for the next legislature. Talk to Stan Gunner, talk to Senator Gooch, talk to the governor, which we hope will not be Stacey Abrams. So I guarantee you, she's not gonna listen. Okay, she's not gonna listen. So push that issue, as you feel that is needed, push it. But in the meantime, vote in November. We can win anyway. Maybe that should be our slogan. Maybe we should put that on a t-shirt. But I'm telling you, we can win anyway. Please do so. I can tell you when I did, in 2010, I went door to door to door. I won White County, where I was completely unknown. I had worked here in Union, I had worked in town, and I had worked in Lumpkin. One of my 4 counties, I never really hardly worked on it, except for I tried 2 murder cases there. Other than that, I hardly worked there. But I beat my opponent who lived in White County by going door to door and knocking on 1,000 doors. We can win if we work at it. You don't necessarily have to trust Dominion to vote, okay? In fact, vote anyway, and then lobby your legislature to change the system. But let's vote. I don't want to be working for Stacey Abrams.
Okay, before you, sir, Rebecca, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, here's what, I really have 2 things. So one, the question was asked, could we do it in Union County and it not be done in other counties? And the quick answer to that is no. The Georgia Annotated Code says that all ballots have to be counted the same way across the entire state. So in order to give the flexibility to counties to be able to tabulate their votes the way they like, be it hand counter or by the machines, that has to be a rules change done in the Annotated Code. And if you don't believe me, there's an orange book, it's about this thick, I have a copy at home, I didn't bring it with me today, that it has all of the election code for the state of Georgia, and it's in there, and I'll be happy to get you the code section so that you'll let that. Secondary to that, to the gentleman here, you made a comment when you said, isn't that the job of the GOP? Well, I look around this room, and there's a lot of members of the GOP sitting here, and it is, it's all of our job.
Hold on.
It's my job, it's your job, it's Dina's job, it's all of our job to do this. And so if you feel passionately about this, one, I will take the concerns of this body back to the 9th District Legislative Committee. I'll be happy to do that for you. 2, be the activists that we as Republicans are supposed to be and advocate with your legislators. We can give you the contact information for Steve Gooch and for Stan Gunner. Heck, I would give you the legislative list for the whole daggone 9th district.
Yeah.
Let me give you an instance card, and you can email me, and I'll be happy to. But be the activists that we are supposed to be as Republicans and engage them. Fill their email box. You give them phone calls. But here's where I will caution you, okay? When you do it respectfully. Because that's the only way they're gonna listen to you. They get enough, and I know this because I too have an inbox full of them. They get enough of emails from people that are hateful and accusatory and not looking to help find a solution. Be the answer to the problem. Help find the solution. When you approach them, be respectful in how you do it, and they will be more receptive in working with you as individuals to understand why you feel that way and want to partner with you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, well, consensus of what I hear saying is that people that want to volunteer, they want to go knock on doors and put the message out. They're looking for some ammo to go and do that with. So why can't the GOP take the position that says, okay, we want to get rid of these machines and do hand counts, and that's going to be our public posture that we're going to advocate. We understand about the legislature thing, and it has to pass in the legislature and all that, but why can't we have a public face that says, okay, we're working, help us work to get rid of those machines, okay, because they're gonna be unreliable, and like you said, they're not unreliable this time, they will be next time because they're a computer. And all computers can be hacked, I don't care what you have to try and re-justify or unjustify or whatever, that's just the nature of it, okay? But a hand count ballot with a validated signature and ID associated with, you can't beat that for making it correct. So why can't the GOP have the position that says, okay, we're working as an organization to get rid of these dadgum machines because they are and have been proven to be unreliable. So that's something that we can do. We can do it now. We don't have to wait. We don't have to have this whole debate about legislative process and all of that. We can take the position and make an announcement and have publications and whatever, but give the people that are going to do the door knocking some ammo to present to the people that will encourage them to go out and vote, or even to help them. Think about that.
And I will tell you, that's a great thing to do. I'll give you an example. Reagan County, prior to the primary election, because Herschel Walker would not come and speak to them in Reagan County. They reached out his campaign multiple times to get him to come up there to speak. He would not. They issued a resolution that talked about that, essentially, we didn't need to have a candidate as our GOP nominee who would not come and engage with the voters. Subsequently, that resolution was picked up by several other media sources. If you want to do a resolution that states this is how Union County GOP feels about this issue, I encourage you to do that resolution. Publish it in your paper. Give it to your area news media outlets. Put it on your social media. Put it on your webpage so that people will know that is the stance of the Union County GOP. That is the heart of being a grassroots activist.
I actually think that would be a good idea, and maybe just have like 4 or 5 things that we stand for, so that if you knock on a door, maybe we use our own little door knocker thing saying Union County supports these things. So would you write that up and bring it to us next meeting?
Yeah, I got an expert letter right
Okay.
here.
I noticed. Okay, hold on. Jason has had his hand up. Jason.
So I'm at the Chevron station pumping gas, $4.25 a gallon. And I look across the street and I see a billboard in Union County that says, vote, do not go broke for health care, vote Democrat. And I'm sitting, and as I'm pumping my 425, I thought, this is a lot of tenacity, this is a lot of audaciousness and audacity. But they are laser focused. They didn't say go back to 2018 and Stacey Abrams was cheated in the election. Be careful here, because when you go out door to door and communicate, do whatever you can not to chill the vote. Because if you call into question, and I agree, I think what we currently have, and I think what happened in Chamblee, in Dunwoody, cost this state, you know, the Republican electoral vote. And I think in other states it happened just like that. It was a few thousand votes that just turned and switched the electoral college. But I do think that for the most part, you know, that in the rural areas and the Republican strongholds, you know, that we carry the day, and we need every vote that we can have to keep Stacey Abrams. And we're gonna have a lot of national, you know, press coming in here, or a lot of national influence that's trying to fight the 2020 battle, and Georgia's gonna die on the altar of that 2020 battle, and we're gonna have Stacey Abrams just go.
Right.
And I'm telling you, Stacey Abrams is the worst thing that can happen. I know if COVID had if Stacey had been in office during COVID, the state would look remarkably different. A lot of people wouldn't be in it. So it's okay to take up the election debate, but I do think be careful when you go door to door. Do not shield the vote. You go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. The army being the information that you have. There is efforts being made to try to make the election more valid. Go with that. Know that a better day can be fought later on, but right now the primary objective is to be Republican at the end of the day.
Okay, just go ahead.
Jason, I agree. We're kind of convoluting two things at the moment, and this is really important we delineate this, right? In November, we've got a binary choice. You're gonna get Kemp or Abrams. It's just a fact, right? Now, I go door to door and beg people, explain why they need to vote for Brian Kemp. But one thing I can say about Brian Kemp is that he wants to get rid of the Dominion machines, because he doesn't, at least last I heard. Is that right? Yep. But I disagree with him there. But I sure want him to be governor instead of Stacey Abrams. We can't let Stacey win, right? So we gotta have two battles going on. And don't convolute the two, because we're too close to November. So go knock on the door for Brian Kemp and for Herschel Walker, and at the same time write the letter to Steve Gooch and Stan Gunner, right? And to Brian Kemp and demand what you want. And we should all do that, but don't convolute those two things about the door knocking, right? Because it's a binary decision in November.
Alexis?
Okay, so I'm hearing things like about the poll watchers. I'm not sure if everyone in this room is aware, but we had 0 poll watchers on election day. So I'm not sure exactly when I'm hearing about GOP training poll watchers, that sounds like something that y'all should have had your eye on. And then I'm hearing continuous rebuttals for the people asking about hand counts, but it seems like the consensus in this room is that that is wanted. So either we're going to be heard by the people that are supposed to be representing us as the conservatives of Union County, or we're not. But what I'm wondering is, going back before that, something I've had a serious question about for a while is, why do you not actively recruit candidates to run against the elected positions of the sitting Democrats? So we have so many elections where people are running unopposed, but I was so seriously shocked to see no one running against our Democrat sole commissioner. And from my understanding, these are the things that we're coming to you for that to be your job. And so if you're not actively recruiting candidates, then what is going on? Because we didn't have any poll watchers on election day. And if there is an active committee, I would really like to see the meeting minutes of the last few meetings before the candidate qualifying period.
That was a lot of questions.
No, it was one question.
I know what you're saying. We have not had an active candidate committee. You're correct there. Right now, we'll be expecting someone good to run, but we have to have a good qualified candidate.
Okay,
and
but
it's hard to find. But I don't.
Who would like to volunteer to be the chair of the candidate committee?
Isn't that supposed to be something that?
Okay.
There you go.
Good job. All right.
Unfortunately, the chair has been inactive, so we need a new person.
Put me in, coach.
Sounds good. Let me speak to poll watching. We've trained 27 people in this county for poll watching. We had somebody at early voting every single day. Democrats had none.
Wow.
We had 2 poll watchers, I think, every single day during early election. The call went out to volunteer for election day. 0 of our 27 trained poll watchers responded. So that's why there were no Republicans. There were no Democrat poll watchers either on election day. Now, what we will be doing is gearing up. Patrice, I have your information. I did not have it before, but I have it now. I have been in charge of getting the poll watchers trained. You have to be trained to be qualified as a poll watcher. If you're not trained, you cannot be a poll watcher. So, and we are finding creative ways to get the training done. A lot of it is online, but some of it is we've been working amongst ourselves. So we will have, again, another round of calling for volunteers. If you've already been trained, you don't have to go through training again, but you can for refresher, which would be good. So if you do want to be a poll watcher, get me your name and your email address and your phone number and your physical address, because I have to turn all that information in by a deadline to qualify you as a poll watcher, as well as getting you trained. So yes, we will be working again to try to get them, but as Stephen was talking about, volunteers are volunteers, and when you sat all day in a poll during early voting, I don't think we had any that were willing to do it on election day.
And to answer the other part of your question, Lamar's not up for election for another 2 years. So that's why there's no candidate running against him, because there's no election to run on right now.
I said when I went to vote and he was running unopposed, I was surprised.
Oh, you're talking about last election cycle.
Yeah, it's very valid. I mean, we didn't have anyone to go up against him, and
We weren't the board then, so we didn't control that, but yeah. But going forward, that's 2 years and several months away, so we'll work on that.
Okay. Cindy?
Okay. Speaking to what you just said, so in other words, my question is, why would we not be bringing up in the GOP here the petition that is valid right now going forward for a multi-board commission instead of just one commissioner? As conservatives, shouldn't we be discussing that? I mean, it's just to get it on the ballot. It's not saying that's what we're gonna do here, but I think there should be a discussion as a member of the GOP and other people, why would we not be discussing whether or not we should have that? Or the petition itself.
To have no position on that.
But I'm talking about the members. I'm talking about the GOP members.
I thought y'all you had the email address of all those. So send an email or ask to be put on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am?
Mr. Aaron, I want to thank you for making the comment that Union County is not only the primary target of what we need to be concentrating on. The United States of America is at jeopardy right now.
Right.
And we need to stay focused on that.
You're exactly correct.
Now, as far as the poll watchers, we sent, my wife and I sent an email, and it may have gotten lost, I don't know. We were approved, trained poll watchers, and we are available whenever you need us. So there's no reason not to have poll watchers at these elections. Thank you.
I think my response to the Georgia Victory guy, he called me asking about it. And I think what we did, and I told him, I said, I think we burned everybody out early voting because we had to have so many days of early voting. Right. And then no one stepped up to the plate.
That needs to be shortened.
That's something else we can get the legislature to work on, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Could you, when you guys get a day coordinated for the poll watchers, can you have that on the website instead of some email distribution?
We absolutely will.
We have a new person who's doing it. She's doing a great job.
Well,
It's over there. Lisa.
Lisa.
there she is.
date, so check it off.
Actually, I got an email, I handed it to Linda this morning, there's like 10 online dates available for poll watching training. You can do it virtually, or if y'all wanna come to Stephen to do it, we can get a room somewhere and not motel, Stephen.
Look, so the election integrity team does virtual poll watcher trainings every day. So you can hop on Zoom if you wanna be a poll watcher, and you can get trained any day of the week.
Right.
But if you guys wanna do one in person, we just need to make sure that, you know, we have enough people at that training for someone to come up here. Cause like, you know, Thomas, our regional election integrity director, he lives over in Lumpkin County. And, it's a little bit of a long drive through the mountains to get over here.
Right.
So, you know, and with gas prices being what they are, we don't wanna waste anyone's gas money when we're doing stuff. But again, you know, whenever you guys do, if you guys choose to do the poll watcher training online, make sure you let Dina know that you did it.
No, not Dina, me.
Oh, sorry.
And those instructions will go out on the website and I guess Facebook as well. The issue is that those become public links now and anybody can go into our training, so you have to be careful about that.
Yes.
So what we'll do is set it up so that you come to me and I'll make certain you get a hold of the links, because I do think we have to be careful about who gets access to these links. But yes, the poll watcher training is ongoing. I don't always get information from the state or district level who's gone through the training. So I do need you to respond to me when you do complete the training so that I can consider you qualified to be a poll watcher. But we'll get all that information out on the website.
Rebecca.
I would just like to suggest, this is a great room of people sitting in here. What are your Saturday meetings, Tina? Why don't you just use that Saturday meeting to do a poll watcher training?
And we can.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
If Stephen will come back or get somebody to come,
No,
we actually have screens.
I'm certified, we can do it ourselves. That's what we were gonna do between now and November.
Oh, okay.
I'm considered certified.
Okay. Yes,
Because I'm on the
ma'am.
board of election, I took the training.
To extend an olive branch to the GOP, there's an upcoming Second Amendment issue here locally. And if you guys get behind it, you'll probably recruit a lot more conservatives. At the county commission, they made mention of a noise ordinance coming down the county. And that's automatically, now depending on how that's enforced, that's gonna rule out a lot of private gun ranges on a lot of private property because of noise ordinances. That is quoted because of the renters and the tourists don't like the sound of gunfire in Union County. So now they're looking at pushing, I don't know that it's gunfire, but I can't imagine anybody's complaining about tractors, if you catch my drift. So they put this noise ordinance in place. I've seen this happen in Cobb County, where they built, and we're doing it too, we got a $3.78 million public gun range coming. And if they enact this noise ordinance and effectively close down all these home gun ranges, that will limit us to this now public gun range that I believe, because it has federal dollars assigned to it, will probably have restraints. Like for instance, will we have to wear masks during pick a COVID season? Will they close it down at Let's Go Brandon's request? All those things. The point is, if they pass this noise ordinance, every hillbilly out here is gonna wanna know, can I hunt? And can I train my wife how to shoot 12-gauge shotgun? Because right now, that $3.78 million gun range doesn't allow you to shoot shotgun. So if they pass this noise ordinance, good luck firing a 12-gauge. So this is up and coming. And if you want to energize the Second Amendment and the conservative base, it's a great discussion.
Yeah, my neighbor calls that the sound of freedom. When you hear and I live in Sussex, I hear them frequently, all around me, but it's okay. I don't mind it. It's the sound of freedom, that's what we all say.
We can get these gun groups, we can get the veteran groups, all these folks. If you get behind the GOP, if you make this a local issue, when you go knocking on doors.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, last comment, okay? Can you be the last one?
Can I be?
Yeah.
You know, to make a point of what Joe's talking about 2 of the Georgia Cattlemen, which serves 4 counties in northeast Georgia and 2 over in Clay County, and Cherokee County, North Carolina. The Right to Farm bill has just gotten passed. And the reason that was an issue was some pig farmers had challenged the silage pits because of odor. So if you think this sound thing is gonna be irrelevant, think again, because when people move in up here and they are disturbed by gunfire, then you're gonna shut down all of your freedoms on firearms in the community. That's the way that sort of creeps in to what we're doing.
It's a direct attack on the Second Amendment.
Thank you.
Okay.